What's up, guys? Time for another Tech News Day.
Over the last year or so, with YouTube dishing out those yellow dollar signs more and more indiscriminately, it has been tougher for YouTubers to make that precious YouTube money. The adpocalypse has resulted in some creators having their videos demonetized, often simply because an algorithm didn't like some of the words in their tags or descriptions.
Or the thumbnail. Or the whatever reads the closed caption. Or any number of things. I don't know. I'm not a robot.
Who knows? It's proprietary. So with nowhere else to go, because every platform that even tries to compete with YouTube, they end up dead.
Hit me.
A lot of those creators who were deemed too controversial for ad revenue found a new sugar daddy, Patreon.
The idea of Patreon was simple, yet revolutionary, as most apps and stuff are. In fact, in some ways, it made zero sense. Patreon allows creators to simply ask their fans for money.
That'll never work.
And somehow, despite large swaths of the internet dwellers still refusing to pay for shit like movies, TV, music, games, it turns out that there's also plenty of people on the internet who are more than happy to fork over a little bit of money to support the content that they love. Sometimes, in return for that money, they get exclusive content just for people who donate, but oftentimes they do it simply out of the kindness of their own hearts.
And the math behind it works out pretty well for everyone involved, at least compared to how terrible YouTube is, even when your videos are still monetized. Even if just 1,000 fans donate $1 a month, that $1,000 is around equal to what a creator would make off a single video with 200,000 views.
Fully monetized and doing really well with a nice long ad.
Meanwhile, those fans who gave $1 get to feel good about themselves for supporting the arts with their pocket change.
Yeah.
I'm a patron of the arts, you see.
A Patreon of the arts. Often, though, people give a lot more than just $1, so Patreon has worked out quite nicely for some creators. Just look at their top creators page. The Chapo Trap House podcast has just one patron tier, $5 a month to listen to half of their podcasts that are Patreon only, and they pull in $88,000 a month just off under 20,000 patrons. Cow Chop, our friends Cow Chop, they have just 2,900 patrons paying an average of $5 or $6 a month, but that adds up to $15,000 a month for them. That's a big chunk of change when you're just doing YouTube videos. It helps offset the cost and, dare I say, pretty much makes it possible for them to do production because you get that money and you can look forward to it instead of YouTube being like, hey, wonder if we can pay the electricity bill this month.
Now, of course, that level of transparency, where you actually list the amount you're making, that's merely optional. There's a lot more of Patreon's top creators who only list their number of patrons and not their actual monthly income, though you can do some basic math and assume, for example, that if all of Phil DeFranco's 13,500 patrons are paying the $5 minimum for DeFranco Elite, he's probably pulling in around $68,000 a month on top of all of his other revenue streams, which is not bad, Phil.
Hey, good for you. People want to pay for stuff, that's up to them.
It's your money.
Now, outside of the heavy hitters, though, Patreon really shines for the type of video makers who put an insane amount of work into their YouTube videos, doing animation and special effects, appealing to a modest but dedicated audience. For example, Captain Disillusion has been making this kind of content for years, spending up to an entire month painstakingly working on a single video that's never going to make enough YouTube revenue to support the channel. But with Patreon, the $7,800 a month he makes from just over 2,000 patrons allows him to treat his channel as a full-time job, which is great.
Yeah. But anyways, you're probably thinking, yeah, okay, come on guys, I know what Patreon is, geez.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that background out of the way, we all know what it is. Here's the news. Now that Patreon has lured all the disaffected, demonetized YouTubers onto their platform and created a massive user base, they're doing what any for-profit business does in that situation, and they're changing their business model a bit so they can make more money.
It's called a pivot. Up until now, actually it's not a pivot because they're not changing what they do, they're just bumping the rates.
They're just shutting the door a little bit.
So up until now, the way Patreon made money was by taking 10% of all creators' revenue. If you donated $1, 90 cents went to the creator and the other 10 cents went to Patreon. Under Patreon's new model, creators get 95%, which at first glance, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Creators get an even bigger slice of the pie. But while this is great for creators, it's less great for the people who make small donations. Now soon though, if you want to donate $1, you've also got to pay an additional 2.9% plus a flat fee of 35 cents.
So let's do a little more math here. Your $1 donation is now a $1.38 donation with all those fees. The creator gets 95 cents, but that's not actually 95% anymore because you're not paying $1, you're paying $1.38. It's actually 68.8% that's now going to the creator and 31.2% going to Patreon. Huh. Funny how numbers can do things like that.
Yeah.
And sure, those fees become pretty negligible if you're donating larger amounts, like $10 or $20. But a huge portion of Patreon's creators say that the bulk of their support is users who donate just $1 a month.
And some of them are donating one spare dollar a month that they can give, but a lot of patrons support what they like by donating $1 to multiple users. This screws those people the most, actually. One $20 donation to a single creator comes out to $20.93 after fees, with $19 going to the creator and $1.93, or 9%, going to Patreon. That's a better split than before, but a user giving $1 to 20 creators is a different story. That $20 is now $27.60, and only $19 of that is going to the creators. $8.60 is now going to Patreon.
Huh! Not surprisingly, a lot of Patreon creators are worried that this change is going to mean a lot fewer of those $1 donations, and will instead result in less overall creator revenue despite the upgrade from 90% to 95%. And actually, they're not just worried. Some creators are actually posting screenshots showing lists of users who have already decided to cancel their monthly donations ahead of the new system's rollout next week.
They got doxxed! I'm sure it's just usernames.
Yeah, well, a lot of them blurred out.
Good.
The very real concern here is that, hey, 95% isn't really an upgrade if you're getting 95% of significantly fewer donations.
Now, this also worsens another issue with Patreon that not many people are talking about. The vast majority of Patreon creators aren't making much money at all. A recent article in The Outline highlighted this fact, drawing on info compiled by the website Graphtreon, which tracks Patreon analytics. Now, out of Patreon's roughly 80,000 creators, only around 2% make the equivalent of working a 40-hour-a-week job at the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. So I hope you're living in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Beautiful place.
Or somewhere in Kansas, or somewhere in Idaho or Montana, or if you want to even put food.
But LA's where all the YouTubers live.
$7.25.
Don't do it, kid.
You
Stay
can't
on the
even
farm.
you'd have to work 3 hours just to get a piece of avocado toast at the current market price, by gosh.
How am I supposed to eat if I can't get my avocado toast? But yeah, that's troubling. The fact that only 2% are earning an actual living on the platform. Patreon even sort of admitted to this in a blog post from June 2016 where they bragged, hey, check this out. Wow, nearly 8,000 of our creators are making at least $100 a month.
Gee whiz.
At the time, they had 25,000 creators, so only 31% of their users a year and a half ago were making over $100 a month. That Patreon blog post, by the way, disappeared mysteriously not long after this article by The Outline went up on the internet.
Well, to be fair, most people aren't using Patreon to quit their day job, though. They're just trying to offset some of the costs of an extracurricular activity that they enjoy. Those people, the ones making $100 a month off almost entirely $1 donations, would be affected the most by patrons either stopping from donating altogether or focusing their donations on a single creator for maximum impact. And it's kind of sad and shitty because Patreon was supposed to be a place to fund average creators, not just YouTube channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. But here's what I'll say. The reason this is, I'll play devil's advocate here. Transactions actually cost companies money.
Sure.
And if you're doing 100,000 $1 transactions, you're going to be losing money on all of that.
Absolutely.
And that's why it scales like this.
But here, a good comparison for this is the way Twitch does it. If you buy your bits 100 bits at a time, you're getting fucking screwed. If you buy buy all the bits you're going to use for the next 3 months,
they have a scaling discount.
You get a way better deal on it. The creator gets more. You save more.
Yeah.
If they had something like that would be a very easy way to fix this. Is you buy Patreon credits that you can then dole out.
Patreon coins.
Yeah. If you pay a fee on that and not a fee on the individual transactions.
That would be a brilliant way for them to solve this problem. Whenever you want, you go in and you buy 100 Patreon coins, and then you use them wherever you want across whenever you want to. Like, oh, I have this for the whole year. This month I want to put 2 Patreon dollars over here, or here, or here. And that way you're paying the fees up front and getting a discount by front loading it, and you're not bogging down Patreon system, you're not costing anyone else money, and you're not paying these exorbitant fees.
I think we need to start this website.
Well, they just need to do it themselves because it's dicking over.
There you go. There's your free solution, Patreon.
Yeah.
Just literally listen to what we just said, and you will make everyone happy.
We got to become consultants.
We do. You're doing this all wrong.
Remember when I
What are you
fucking
doing?
gave Twitter that idea and they implemented it a week later? You want to kill Vine? Put replay videos, loop videos, and put a view counter on it. Within a week, they did it. Because I'm influential.
And they put a microphone in our microwave.
It's that damn Alexa. She's on to me. You see, what's his name? Alex Jones talking to his Alexa? He got it.
He's getting to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Alexa, you're looking a little suspicious.
Looks like you need some nootropics, some brain pills. Anyways, we have to move on. We have to move on to net neutrality because, yeah, it's still happening now, but Thursday, who knows? Before we get into that, though, we gotta let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by Bond. Not really. Bond is actually the easiest way to send physical, handwritten notes using your phone or computer. You want to send a message to your congressman or FCC chairman that's sure to leave an impression? Bond is for you.
Thousands of customers, from individuals to large businesses, use Bond's technology to personally connect and build meaningful relationships. You simply create your notes through your phone or computer, and you can send physical and lasting correspondence as easily as writing a text or an email. Choose from Bond's designer stationery or create your own by uploading photos, logos, and more. You can even get your own handwriting digitized or pick one of Bond's 17 unique styles.
Better yet, your note is written with pen on premium stationery using Bond's exclusive robotic technology. Then it's placed in an envelope, stamped, sealed, and shipped at no additional cost. Bond really is the easiest way to send personalized holiday cards to everyone on your list without cramping your fingers. And now you get 20% off your first order when you visit bond.co/TechTuesday. Again, that's bond.co/TechTuesday. Now it's time for net neutrality, because without net neutrality, we couldn't have products like that or be on this platform.
Or net neutrality. And we're actually going to give Phil a break on this one this week because the man is going to have a heart attack if he has to come in here and yell about this every single week. He's also very busy. But yes,
it's very good. The end of the year, everyone's busy.
Yeah, so despite huge amounts of people calling and writing to their congressional reps and commenting on the FCC's website and flooding social media and Reddit with loud, angry disapproval of the FCC's plan to gut net neutrality, Ajit Pai, apparently that's how you say his name.
No, I'll say it wrong just to piss him off.
Ajit Pai remains undeterred, drinking your tears out of his big, stupid Reese's mug.
I hate that mug so
All
much.
these tears are his voice is... I hate everything about this guy.
It's me, Ajit Pai. Use my promo code to get your own Reese cup. Put one under the tree for everyone else who hates freedom. And put one of those Trump bears in it.
Trumpy bear.
Yeah. Now, adding insult to injury, Ajit Pai thinks the whole fucking thing is hilarious, apparently. Last Thursday, the FCC held their annual gathering of the Federal Communications Bar Association, basically a formal gathering of FCC employees and telecom bigwigs rubbing elbows, all drinking out of their various...
I seem to have dropped $1,000.
Whoa! Why, look, it's a brand new Reese mug. Wow, and your name's printed on the inside. Anyways, a leaked video taken by one of the attendees shows Ajit Pai testing out his comedy chops at the podium and then unveiling a hilarious skit that takes place at Verizon's DC office in 2003. In the video, current Verizon Senior Vice President Kathy Grillo approaches Ajit Pai with a plan. We want to brainwash and groom a Verizon puppet to install as FCC chairman. Think Manchurian Candidate. To which Pai responds, "That sounds awesome!" And I laughed.
The whole joke in this comedic abomination of a sketch is how absurd it is that people think Ajit Pai is a telecom shill despite being in the FCC for 10 years. And yeah, it would be pretty absurd if not for the fact that he's doing everything a telecom shill would be doing in this situation. He literally called up one of his old Verizon pals to film the damn video with him.
It's a long form joke. Yeah.
Andy Kaufman is Ajit Pai.
He's making the joke worthwhile because he's like, look, it's exactly what I'm doing. Isn't it hilarious?
Yeah.
And we're all just waiting for the punchline.
But yeah, that also his Verizon friend, who was in the video, was more than happy to participate in a video that makes light of corruption.
Hilarious.
At the very least, it's bad optics. But when has Ajit Pai or Verizon ever given a shit about that?
Never. It's shocking on a day-to-day basis how little people care about the way that they are perceived. I mean, whatever. Here's something else he probably won't give a shit about. During a recent Vice News video where they visited his office, he showed off his Ron Swanson Pyramid of Greatness poster, signed by Nick Offerman. Now, when Nick Offerman found out about this, though, he posted this to Twitter. Dear @Ajit Pai FCC, I noticed your Pyramid of Greatness and thought it felt strange in your office, given your stance. So I went to see Ron Swanson to ask if he'd care to weigh in, and he dictated the below to me.
I'm flattered that my pyramid of greatness has inspired you. I will remind you that the top category is honor. Sadly, based on your duplicitous handling of the net neutrality issue and the way you are willfully ignoring the public you claim to serve, I feel you may need that term defined, which means, of course, that you don't have it. Ooh, damn, Ron. Anyway, the FCC vote on net neutrality is finally happening on Thursday, and despite huge protests over the past week in front of Verizon stores and polls showing that even across party lines, both Democrats and Republicans both overwhelmingly support net neutrality, they're still probably going to kill it anyway.
I mean, we've still got Scientology.
Because fuck what we think.
Scientology and the death of net neutrality. Two things the internet couldn't solve.
Sad. Sad, really.
You know, I bet that they've got something to do with each other.
That's our show. Watch our Monday show where we talked about
just a lot of It's Star Wars reactions. It's a bit of everything.
Yeah.
The recap of the video game awards. It's a fun show. But really, you should check out our interview with one of the stars and one of the screenwriters from The Disaster Artist, which is a movie that is out now. It's based on one of the worst movies ever made called The Room. It's a fantastic film. You should definitely see it. And maybe after seeing it, watch the podcast. But either way, it was really interesting to sit down with them and talk. So check those out. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.